Welcome to 2 Cents, where I, Xav, also speak to industry professionals to give us their 2 cents of how they got to where they are today. Today's guest is Remy Fabrikant. He is an author of several books. He is one of the biggest advertising players in Switzerland. He works with big clients like Mazda and Falser and so on. Remy, welcome.
Xaver, thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to that interview.
Cool. So tell us, what is the job of an agency?
What's the job of an agency? So the job of an agency is to making advertising concepts, to find the right channels for them, to look how advertising is deployed, to make the analytics, to be efficient, and to, at the end, to help to sell the products of the client. So today, it's totally different. Today is about different channels, a lot of channels, and the clients doesn't know exactly anymore how to run the advertising to get to the people. So we help them with concept to getting there.
So if you say the clients don't understand anymore how to get, is it because they are confused with all the content being consumed or all the devices, or how do you?
No, we the consumer changed. You changed. I changed. Okay. Today, the consumer is in the chair and decides what happens. It decides when he looks at advertising, how it looks at advertising, how he believes at advertising, how he wants to be informed, and how he wants to be motivated. It's not the marketing person anymore who decides how the message gets to the consumer. It's the consumer decides what he wants to hear.
And why did it change? Why did it change that the consumer decide now?
Technology has a big role in that changement. So technology today is what we have in our pockets, what we look on the screens, and that's why we manage our time and whatever information we look at. That's a big problem for marketing. And that's why they're in a big problem, because they know exactly it's very difficult to reach a consumer. And that's why we do our job and help them to find the right channels to make whatever story they need to make in the channels.
Remy, when a client comes to you with a product, how do you turn that product into a concept? And if we could keep a little bit on the filming side or filmmaking side.
So that's a good question, because I give you a complicated answer. Now, I wrote a book about that. It's about motivation today, because you as a consumer, me as a consumer, everybody else as a consumer have changed their behavior totally. We don't care about advertising anymore. Okay, so it's very important to get in the attention of this consumer and to motivate him to give me a click or to look at my commercial or whatever. And when it comes to storytelling, you have to know what motivates people to use that product. And if there is not a direct link, you have to build that link. So that means you have 4 motivations in yourself. And with these motivations, you live your life. So one motivation is making a deal. The other motivation is being part of a group. One motivation is being entertained, and one is showing what you can do or you believe you're good at. And these 4 motivations, these are which you use all the time. If I tap in one of these motivations and combine that with the benefit of the product, then I really reach your attention. And that's what we do. That's the kind of concept we build, and out of that we start with storytelling. So we take this motivation and build it in a beautiful story, and as you know, with all the electronic channels, storytelling on video is the best thing.
Now, can you give us a practical example of one client that came with a product and you had to introduce those 4 elements to them?
Yeah. So I have a campaign running, which is my Magic Road Trip. I have a campaign running, which is Feel Limitless for Walzer. Now, with Walzer Water, we ask the question, do you want to feel limited or do you want to feel limitless? It's about the water coming out of the mountain. For years, they told water is coming out of the mountains. And we tell the story why the water is coming out of the mountains, because the water is so strong. Water is stronger than a mountain. Now, if you have the strengths from that water, the question is, what would you do with it? And that's how we built the campaign. So we tell the story about the water, and then we ask you, what would you do with it? So the question was, do you want to feel limitless, or do you want to feel limited? And then you had to take the decision, and when you took the decision, we got the content.
Because they are now interacting suddenly with the brand.
We are interacting with people, with the consumers. So that's the most important thing today, that we try to motivate the people to interact with us. Because today your attention span on whatever communication piece is some seconds. Okay? And we want to extend that so that you are thinking about this brand, this product, this proposition, and then you start to do something with it. So it gets, so you start to like it, okay? And you get an emotional bond. That's what we try to do.
And the next time you go into the kiosk and you choose a water, that reminds you of that connection, or
because it means more to you than the other one, which is just advertising.
So Remy, there's definitely a change in the air. Yeah, agencies are getting smaller. I feel like a lot of clients are trying to save money by eliminating the middleman. Where do you still see the value of an agency in today's modern world?
So what we do is we making the concepts. Okay, if you look at the business models some years ago, an agency was making money about producing stuff, and with the other people in the industry producing their stuff. But today, I think it's okay if they restart to making money having good ideas. We making the storytelling, we making the content plans, we helping the clients to choose wisely the channels where we start to talk, we make analytics, we check how effective is the whole stuff. It's about a whole communication strategy with all channels included. So we look at the data, we see what happens, and we learn with the data how the consumer behaves. And from there, we go to the next step and refine our strategies, refine our thinking, and refine the ideas we have to have.
So why would you say is the age of the big agency networks are over?
So the big agency networks were made to deploy a client's advertising strategy and production all over the world, consistent all over the world. Now the clients are hubbing themselves, so they hubbing in Europe probably in 2 marketing organizations, and then they need 2 advertising organizations somewhere, probably in Paris or Milan, wherever the big markets are. And so the whole thing is shrinking. So the small countries like Switzerland, are left out because we are not an important market. We have big markets like Germany or France or Italy, and we have very small market. It doesn't need to have a marketing deployment here. So, and that's why the big agency networks are shrinking very heavily now.
And this is all because of the internet. The internet created this dilemma in a way.
It's because of the internet, but it's because also about the money. It costs a lot of money to supply such a big network. So the internet helped them to reorganize and reshape their marketing organizations and the deployment of advertising.
But obviously the money comes from the clients, and so the clients are not willing to spend that much money anymore. Or where is that?
The clients doesn't need to spend that much money anymore, because deployment of advertising today, with all the channels you have electronically, you can do it very centrally from one place.
With people's short attention span, with more content being consumed than ever before on many different ways, where do you see the best way of spending your advertising dollars? And what works and what doesn't work anymore?
There is 1,000 ways to spend the money, and there is 1,000 right ways to spend the money. If you look today at content doesn't care about the medium and the channel anymore. It doesn't matter if you look at it on a mobile phone, on a big screen, on a wall, on a whatever. It's about the content, and it's about just to choose the right channel. Doesn't matter where. But if you want to reach people today, we have two big channels, which are really engines, which helps us to deploy whatever we want to tell. And this is Facebook. It is the internet, and it's television too, because if I want to build up reach very fast, it's television. But at the end, it's social media in combination with television or the other classical medium. So I can build up reach very fast, but if I want to get in contact with the people, I need all the social media channels, especially Facebook or Instagram.
So, Remy, what and who inspires you? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I was in a crisis 6-7 years ago because I really didn't like advertising anymore. Especially if you look television with your family and you look big Hollywood film. You have 90 minutes of content, 60 minutes of advertising, and it's bleh. And you are ashamed to be an advertiser. You think that's not a good business. And I was thinking a lot how to change it. And I gone to the Berlin School MBA, and I did an MBA, especially to learn about what other people in my industry have some problems. And I discovered they have exactly the same problem, and they want to reinvent advertising. So this was my big inspiration.
So you went back to study
at
a later age. Wow.
Yeah,
that's inspiring.
It was hard, because you have a day job and in the night you're studying. So,
and the decision to do that was just to feel like to put yourself out of your comfort zone, to do something different, or what?
Yeah, to really put yourself in question, to reinvent yourself. Every 7 years you should reinvent yourself anyway. So, it was the moment.
Fantastic. Wow. As young people out there need inspiration, how could you inspire a recipe to success?
Today in our industry is interesting because the question must be, how can the old brands be inspired by the young people? Because they change the world. They work with technology, they grew up with the technology, and the big brands really are struggling heavily to adapt. And yourself, you come from there. You're kind of guy which comes exactly from there. You don't have a classical education in filmmaking, You come from trying and making and developing your own style and language. So this is very important today. We have to look at the young people, how they develop themselves, because technology is democracy. And democracy, everybody can have his chance.
Remy, you're a guru in your field. You've been doing this for a long time. What drives you in the morning to get up out of bed and say, today I'm going to do some amazing work again?
Exactly that. So, it's for me, it's the new way to work, the new thing we developed. It's like fresh air, and it's getting up in the morning and thinking, let's invent advertising again.
Well, thank you very much for being here. It was great to hear insight to your world.
Thank you very much.
That's it for now. Join us next time on 2 Cents. Stories from industry professionals. Use it or lose it. You choose.